everyone, and welcome to another art lesson with me, Mr. Richardson. This activity is for my grade 1 students, and we're going to be taking a look at our numbers and our primary colours today. So I hope you have a bit of previous knowledge about your primary and secondary colours. And we're going to be taking a look at an artist called Jasper Johns, who specialised in creating big, enormous paintings of numerals using primary colours. So what you'll need today is a piece of blank paper, a grey lead pencil, some coloured textures, and if you have got a paintbrush, fantastic. If you don't have a paintbrush, then you can substitute it with a kitchen sponge or some wet paper towel. Okay, grab your stuff and let's get started. So Jasper Johns is an American sculptor, painter and printmaker, and specialised particularly in abstract and pop art. He was born in 1930, so he's been around doing art for quite a while. Some of his pieces, as I mentioned before, are big, huge, single-digit numbers, but they're broken up into sections of colour, like little pops of colour that come from the page. So we're going to be trying to do something very similar with our pencil and textures today. I want you to have your paper portrait way, so it is up and down like this, and you get your grey lead pencil. Think of a single digit number, so anything from 0 to 9. I'm going to do the number 7. So I'm going to start fairly much near the top and go across. And then mine's going to be a little bit bendy. Now it's just a single line at the moment. It doesn't really look like much. It's going to be a bit hard to paint if I just leave it as a single line. So we're then going to back around, going across, and that's going to create some thickness. And then I'm going to try and follow the same path. I'm going to go backwards. It's kind of like train tracks, really. And then at the start, I'm going to do a funny little bendy part just to make it a little bit fancy. Okay, so I've got my thick number 7 here. You can do whichever number you want. And I'm going to get my coloured textures. Now I mentioned before about the primary colours. Do you know which ones are your primary colours? I hope so. They are blue, yellow, and red. They are our 3 primary colours. And of course, those 3 primary colours are the ones that we can then mix together in pairs to make our secondary colours. Do you know which ones they are? Orange, purple, and green. So of course, red and blue makes purple. Blue and yellow makes green. And red and yellow makes orange. I'm going to put my 3 secondary colours away today because I do not need them. I only need my 3 primary colours. And you're going to colour it in patches, little pops of different colours, all inside the number 7. You might want to do it in circles or squares, or triangles, or random shapes, but I want you to try and colour in as much of the white space inside the number as you can. Alright, are you ready? And the magic colours it in. And there you have it, my coloured in number 7 with mostly triangles. There's a couple of other 4-sided geometric shapes there. So think about the shapes that you learn about in maths. It could be triangles or squares or rectangles or parallelograms What other shapes can you think of that you see in everyday life that you could use to colour in blocks and pops of colour with your primary coloured textures in the number that you have drawn? Okay, so I have outlined my number with black texture. So I'm going to get my paintbrush now and just brush over my texture with a little bit of water. And it's going to create a watercolor effect. And it doesn't matter if those colors start bleeding into each other. So bleeding is where it's happening here, where the colors are starting to ooze out a little bit. That's fine. You don't want to brush too much, and you don't want too much water, otherwise a lot of water is just going to create huge puddles and you're going to end up mixing all the colors and they're going to turn brown. So just have enough water in your cup, dip it in, brush it on the side of your cup to get rid of the extra, and just pat once over it. And you can see that that is enough to make those colors start to run a little bit, and it looks a little bit like watercolor paint. Okay, so just be careful that you don't use too much water, and you wipe the brush on the side of the cup. So after you've finished applying a little bit of water on the texture, remember not too much, let it dry out before you take a photo. Now I have cut mine out and stuck it onto some coloured paper. If you've got coloured paper at home, you might like to do that. If not, if you've only got plain paper, you might like to try colouring in the background as well, using the similar colours that we did for the inside of the number. And you can see that with the water, when it's spread and bled into the other sections, that it's actually mixed and created secondary colours. Can you see the oranges, the greens and the purples blending in? So you don't want it to be mixed too much. Be very careful with how much water you apply onto that. So have a play around with the shapes that you colour in on your number, whether you want to decorate the outside or collage a background with some coloured paper if you want to. And then I've outlined with the black marker to make it stand out and pop out from the page. Have fun with this activity, and I can't wait to see your Jasper Johns inspired numbers. See you next time.